Hey guys, I just wanted to make a. Whoa. These are noise canceling. It's pretty crazy. I've never had those before. So, I wanted to just make a quick one on novels versus novellas because I haven't done it before. I just made the decision to publish novellas instead of novels. And I just wanted to talk about the difference both for readers because I'm consuming them too, you know. Um, you see in my book review, I have a lot of short ones. And so, um, I've come to enjoy novellas. I didn't used to, but I feel like a novella series that's set in the same universe can be really good. Because I realize, like, why are TV shows more popular than movies? It's because they have more content overall, but it's in more bite sized pieces 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. And so you can watch this really long story, but you don't have to invest huge amount of time uh, of your day into watching it. Oh yeah, when people walk by, they kind of freak out. They're used to it though. You see the two bluebirds? They just flew to the fan. There they go. They're going back. So those are yeah, those are Corgin blue finches. If you want to look them up, the males have red cheeks. It's really cute. Oh, so I realize that the same thing can be translated to fiction, and that if I write novellas, instead of trying to publish a huge novel, which is really hard, I can publish 10 self consistent stories in my huge universe, you know, like because my universe is huge and I have more lore. Like, I've just been writing lore because that's what I like to do instead of prose. So I don't like because prose is hard, man. Whereas writing lore, like writing my wiki articles that I put up on my website, are awesome. To make, I really like making lore. That's why I liked the sci-fi author David Brin because he's huge on like the alien lore of their societies. And I don't have aliens in mind, at least not in the Milky Way, because it's all AIs. I want the story to basically be whether or not like humans decide to upload their minds into silicone or not, and whether or not that's death, why some do and don't. But the bottom line is that the machines are much more efficient. So it's like they're not evil or good. They just run programs. And since humans are less predictable, they don't take them as allies really because it's like how can I trust you? You have to remember this is the Milky Way, right? So dozens at least, maybe thousands of years are going by between each communication. So it's like how can I have diplomacy with humans when it's a different guy every time? It doesn't work. And so it's about this struggle. And I have this huge universe, and I started trying to make an 800-page novella or novel. That's why I have 800 pages. I wanted it to be a 1,000-page debut novel from an unknown author, just some random dude who was just like bam. And then I realized that instead of doing that, I should publish a series of novellas that's set in my universe. Some of them are high level in outer space in the Milky Way basically for now. At the end of the novella, you kind of get like a Milky Way sort of climax. Spoiler alert. But that's at the end of like one of the novellas. And then the one that I'm writing right now is set only on a far, far future Earth. That's like and then it's sort of the society on this earth is sort of like Conan the Barbarian or Game of Thrones, except Napoleonic with gunpowder. Kind of like Wild West, where there is law and order, but only within certain political spheres, and then the wild lands are still wild with bandits and such. Like the romanticized Wild West, not the real one. So yeah, I think that if for people who want to try to write, dude, Write something that's 100 pages long. The Worm and His Kings is like 120, and it's popular, like it's bestseller. So it's a lot easier. Watch Daniel Green's video too, because if like I'm self-publishing also, like it's kind of like, of course, for me it's like I'll never, like I hate putting this stuff up on YouTube because it's YouTube. Whenever I have an option to be independent instead of through a company, I take it. So yeah, and you can watch Daniel Green's video on that, like self-publishing. And I really do think you go. My first novella is 200 pages. Is where how or it's gonna be like 150, 200 pages, and then I'm gonna write another one that's set in outer space on a broader scale, because the novel I had to blend the two, and dude, it was hard, man. It gets exponentially harder. Writing a 100 page is it's not it's not 1/8 as hard as writing an 800 page, because writing an 800 page you have to make everything tie together, and that's very difficult. So it gets harder and harder as you go up. It's like an exponential curve instead of a whatever logarithm or just a flat one. It actually is sort of logarithmic curve, actually, in the sense that, well, it's like an S curve, because because writing a 2000 versus a 3000, once you have 2000, you're kind of just like good to go with continuing some plot line. But I hope to get that with Novellas, guys, because I have my website. I would very much recommend, if you can't afford your own website, because it's more expensive than I thought to have even just like a simple web server up. You can go on it's like it's they're like a world building. Just Google like world build site or world building website, and you can build a wiki for your world, and that'll help you too. And then you can have a place to put all your lore without having to info dump a million times in your novel. And then I can tell people, hey, if you like the characters in the novella, but you know how my novella is written like the Tchaikovsky book Cage of Souls, where you're just kind of thrown into it. And then I can be like, hey, if you're the kind of reader who's more like me and you want to read the wiki and the lore and you want to know like what's going on exactly, I've got it all. So I want it to be like Game of Thrones, like the TV series, right? Like they made Westeros and Essos pretty big, but they didn't have to have like a 4-hour movie. Like Dune would have been better off as a series, I feel like. So yeah, guys, Novellas, it's really exciting because you can publish on Kindle Unlimited with just an ebook. It's really hard to get your book in print, but Kindle Unlimited, I'm using the software Vellum, which is Mac only, but you can make a really sweet ebook. I bought this Mac because of Daniel Green's video. So yeah, guys, and then another really cool tip for world building is to play role play. Like I debut my society, my cultures in a Conan Exiles roleplay server so that I can like build server lore where it's like, oh yeah, there's like this culture, like I came from this culture that's like this and this, and then they have their own art styles and their own way of dressing, and then I just have like multiple characters and stuff, and then I don't plagiarize, but I look at other server lore, like Conan the Barbarian lore has all kinds of different. There's some kingdoms, there's some cannibals, and then everything in between. Like knights and then cannibals and everything in between. At least on the server I play on. So it's a really cool way for people to like give me feedback on my lore without even knowing it, because I'm actually making a culture that's a lot like the ones that are on my fictional Earth. So yeah. That's another good thing you can do. Also, just to get creative, like you can be a DM for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I don't really like D&D too much, but it's a great way. I prefer electronic medium usually, so I play on like a Conan the Barbarian server with like that game is pretty brutal. Like there's nudity and slavery and brutality, but there's also I like games where you're trying to be good in a cruel world, and it's a challenge just to to be kind-hearted in a cruel world and still survive. I like that. Whereas it's also really fun to just play Minecraft if you're younger. Love Minecraft. A lot of good stuff out there. Alright, thanks.